Let me show the W-4. All right. Okay, this is the W-4 is the first form that you're ever going to use when you start your interaction with the IRS. When you start your first job or a different job, the W-4 form is going to be that form that you're going to have to fill out before your employer gives you your paycheck. Okay, and one thing that I want you to notice about the W-4 form before I get started, down here in the instructions, in the general instructions, you need to read the purpose of the form. It says complete a form W-4 so that your employer can withhold the correct federal income tax from your pay. If too little is withheld, you will generally owe your taxes when you file for your taxes. If too much is withheld, you will generally be due a refund. It says complete a new Form W-4 when changes to your personal or financial situation would change the entries on the form. For more information on the withholding and when you must furnish a new W-4 form, see publication 505 and the tax withholding and estimate tax. Okay, so let's look at the W-4 form. And I need to move this out of it. Just move this over. Okay, when you fill out the initial, it's broken down into 4 steps. Okay, step 1, enter your personal information where you put your first name, last name, your address, and your marital status. Okay, then in between it says complete steps 2 through 4 only if they apply to you. Otherwise, skip to step 5. Okay, step 2 will tell you, complete this step if you hold more than one job at a time or are married filing jointly and your spouse also works. The correct amount of withholding depends on the income earned from all of your jobs. Do only one of the following. But before I get started with this, everybody, you should know to go to the irs.gov and do the Form W-4. But I want to go back to what Stephanie had mentioned a little bit earlier. When you go to your back office, you get to the BMC home. Right there where the Getting Started button is. Okay, when you click that button there, you'll get to this screen, and you'll have a lot of different things that you need to do to get started. And you see the first thing that they have on there is correct your tax withholding video. It's a 14-minute video that you can go over whenever you want. Okay, when you click that link there, you'll get to a 14-minute video that will explain to you step by step what the W-4 is all about. Also, myEcon gives you all the material that you need so that you can learn this W-4 form. Okay, if you go into from here, you go into the Document Center. Inside the Document Center, you'll notice that you can drop down and pick all your training. But the very first, under Training and Support Materials, you have a W-4 PowerPoint training program right there. Inside of that, you have a corporate PDF, or not a PDF, I can't think of what it's called right now, but there's a presentation right here for you to go over the W-4 form. Now, what I do want to show you is that while you're going over this presentation here, okay, you notice that I have down on the bottom all the written words. But a lot of times, a lot of people will get there and it'll just be a full view there. Right in between the picture here and the words below, you have all your talking points for each slide. And you notice your talking points are down there so that you can go through the presentation. There's a line, and there's a very faint 3 dots here, but you see my cursor is turning into a hand. When you have that hand there, you can either hide the talking points or bring the talking points back up to you. Okay, so that's one little trick that you can use. Now, what I've done with this, I've taken those talking points and I opened up my notepad and I literally took all the pertinent information from the presentation as far as how much we're going to talk about, or they talk about the Johnson family that makes $105 a year, $105,000 a year. The husband makes 50 and the wife makes 55. So you'll grab those pertinent talking points and open up a notepad and just lay it on the side there. Okay. When you do that, if you also go to, it'll tell you where the tax estimator is. You go to irs.gov and you pull up the tax estimator. So what I want to do is just briefly go over this, step by step, using the notes that I pulled up from the talking points. Okay, another thing, let me also show you this. If you take your phone and just scan that QR code, you'll come to the IRS estimate. Okay, so I'm gonna go through this a little bit from the very beginning. I gotta keep moving these out of the way. Okay, I'm gonna go to the very beginning, the first one, and let's talk about the W-4 calculator. Okay, this is to protect you against having too little tax withheld and facing an unexpected tax bill or penalty at tax time. And also lets you know that the average refund is $3,000. If someone receives a refund, the average amount that they're going to receive is about $3,000. You may prefer to have less tax withheld up front and receive more in your paycheck, which is what myEcon recommends. Now, when you give your presentation, we're always taught, we can show somebody how to bring in an additional $300 to $500 back into their household. But you're going to run across someone that owed last year, or they may owe next year. And in most cases, people, they don't realize that all they have to do is go and fill out the W-4 form, and they can change that outcome. How would you like to be someone that owed last year and you're sitting back waiting to see if you owe next year? Well, with the W-4 tax withholding estimator, you can actually keep track of that. And if you're in a position where you're going to owe this year, this is the time and the place that you can start making your adjustments to your W-4 form. It's just it's an awesome tool to use. It was a little bit confusing because they changed the W-4 form a couple of years ago from being a 4-page document to now being a 4-page document plus giving you the tax withholding estimator. So let's look at some of the things that you need to do first. First of all, tell them myEcon does not guarantee that you will receive an income in your check by adjusting your W-4 form. Results will vary based on each individual's unique financial situation. Very true. Okay, we talked about this family, married filing jointly. They make a total of $105,000 in their income. The husband makes $50,000, the wife makes $55,000. And they have 2 dependent children, age 7 and 10. And they paid a child care of $6,500 a year. Okay, when you're doing your W-4 form, you need to have your most recent paycheck stub available with you. Okay, in this example, we pull up the Johnson's family W-4 form. You know, I'm sorry, their most recent paycheck stubs. Okay, and on those paycheck stubs, let me see if I can go full screen. You really can't see it there. But your paycheck stub will tell you, if you look at it, your deduction. Okay, and there's a row on this particular stub that says the current, which is the current paycheck that you receive now, and they also have the year-to-date column, which tells you how much you've paid to the government so far this year. Okay, so with that information at your hand, you can go to the tax estimator, and here's the location for the tax estimator. It says type W-4 calculator in the search bar, and it's going to take you to the IRS.gov site where you can click that information and you can come up with your tax estimator. Again, if you took your phone and take a picture of that, you will come up with your tax withholding estimate. Okay, now what I'm going to do here, I'm going to bring up my notes, and I'm going to use those notes here so that I can go through the estimator here on the side. Okay, if you go down to the bottom, you see it says use the tax withholding estimator. Okay, so you click that. And let me just move this over a little bit so I can make this a little bit bigger so you're not straining to see it. Okay. Move this out of the way. Okay, it says Mr. Johnson's most recent pay period ended 2/19. So let's just go here and lay this out. Okay, in the first section, it's your filing status. We're talking about Johnsons that are married filing jointly. And it pops up, you'll see, may another taxpayer claim you as a dependent on their tax return? The answer is no. And you just get all these answers inside of the presentation there. Okay, do you plan to claim dependents on your tax return? Yes, they have 2 children, remember? Okay, how many dependents do you anticipate claiming in your tax return this year? So you hit the drop-down menu and you click 2. Do you or will you or your spouse hold a job this year with paychecks which federal income tax is regularly withheld? The answer is yes. Okay. How many jobs do you expect to hold this year? Drop-down menu, you're going to have 1. How many jobs does your spouse expect to hold this year? And in this case, Mrs. Johnson does work, so she's going to also hold down 1 job. It says, will you or your spouse receive income from a pension this year? In this example, no, they will not. Okay, so you click no on there. Then it says, check all that applies to you and your spouse, other sources of income and tax payments. Okay, so they will not receive Social Security. The spouse will not receive Social Security. They did not collect unemployment. The spouse did not collect unemployment. They have earned net income from self-employment. The answer is no so far. In the demographics, will they be 65 or older? No. Are you blind? No. Is your spouse blind? So since they don't meet any of the demographics there, you just click next and go to the next form. Step 2, income and withholding. Okay, and it says, do you expect to hold this job the entire year? Of course they do. How frequently are you paid? And if you go back in your notes, you'll notice that Mr. Johnson was paid twice monthly. Okay, so we'll click twice monthly. Now notice that there's a difference in being paid twice monthly versus every 2 weeks. If you're paid twice monthly, you have 24 pay periods in the year, 12 months, two times a month. If you get paid every 2 weeks, you'll have 26 pay periods in a year. So there is a difference in twice monthly and every 2 weeks. Just know that. Okay, so we'll click twice monthly there. On what date did your most recent pay period end? This is where you go back to your paycheck stubs. And in this case, it was February 19th, the last time Mr. Johnson got paid. And it just fills it in. Enter the total wages you expect to receive this year. Mr. Johnson's going to make $50,000 a year. So you put $50,000 in. Okay, it says, have you ever entered any bonuses? Have you already received this year? He has not received any bonuses. Do you expect to receive this year? And the answer is going to be no. Okay, it says using your last pay statement on the federal income tax. Enter the federal income tax withheld year to date. And that's when you go back to your paycheck stub and enter what you have for year to date off of your paycheck stub. Let me just go here and find out where I am again. Okay, using your last pay statement, enter the federal taxes withheld from your paycheck. Year to date was $524, and per pay period, they're taking out $131 on that. Okay, it says, did you or will you contribute to a tax-deferred retirement plan, such as a 401k? In this example, no, they will not. If they're going to contribute to HSA, FSA, or pre-tax child care credit under certain account or other cafeteria plan, the answer is no. Then you have to do the same thing for your spouse. Okay, if your spouse is working, okay, it says, does your spouse expect to hold her job all year long? The answer is yes. Okay, how frequently is your spouse paid? She's also paid twice monthly. On what date did your spouse receive the most her recent pay period? That was also February 19th in this example. Okay? Enter the total wages your spouse expects to receive this year. She's going to make $55,000 supposedly. And did she receive any bonuses? No. Does she expect to receive any? No. The answer will be no there. Using her last pay statement, we're going to see how much she paid for the year. And it's $624. Now, all these answers, remember, are in the presentation here. I just grabbed them, pull them over on the side here so that you can just practice that. Okay. Okay. In her pay period, how much did she pay in her pay period? Ms. Johnson paid $156 in federal taxes the last pay period. Now remember that you're going along with your paycheck stubs right next there. Okay. Will she contribute to a tax-deferred retirement plan, such as a 401k? The answer will be no. Same with the next section. So you hit next on there. Okay, it tells you following, go to year to date. Your job is required. Okay, let me go back here, and you notice it even turns up in red. So I did not put that 524 in. Now that you put the 524 in, you hit next. So it's gonna stop you from making those mistakes along the way. Okay, now it's gonna ask for adjustments. Part 3, here's the adjustments. Okay, in this example, the Johnsons don't know if they even have any adjustments in their W-4. So if you don't know, they just skipped. Most people don't even know what adjustments are. So in this example, we'll just skip that for now. Okay, let me see what's happening. It says go to next step. So you have to click that. Okay. So you hit next. And then it says, do you qualify for a standard deduction of $25,100? Okay. In our example, yes, they do qualify for the standard deduction. Okay. So you just click here and take the standard deduction and click next. Okay. Based on your inputs, you qualify for tax credits for your dependents. Remember, they had 2 dependents. See tax credits or get my results without the tax credit. Okay, so you hit the see tax credits, and it's going to actually bring up that you have children because you inputted that a little bit earlier. Okay, you stated that you have 2 dependents. If this is correct, return to step 1 about you to update your number of dependents. Okay, and I'm pretty sure that I put that in there. Okay, enter the number of qualifying children under the age of 17. There's 2 of them. Okay, you got child independent tax credit. Okay, so you got 2 qualifying children who are under the age of 17. It says enter an estimate of your work-related child and dependent care expense. Now, their child and dependent care expense, you look over here in your notes, and let me find it. Okay, here we go. The Johnsons paid $6,500 in child care. Enter the amount of your work-related child care. So that was the $6,500. Okay. Earned income tax credit. Select the number of qualifying children, since the tax estimator simply provides an estimate based on your inputs. Please use the help button for more information. Let's click this. Earned income tax credits. Select the number of qualifying children is 2. Okay. There is no adoption credit. Okay. There is no foreign tax credit, educational credit, or retirement credit. Okay. So you hit next. Okay, and you see that it keeps going right along. And at the very end, you'll see this graph here that tells you that you're going to get a refund. Now, at this point, let me just kind of move this over a little bit because I'm going to go back to the PDF form. And this is actually slide 19, I believe. Or 21, where you see this tax form. Okay, it says, based on the information entered, Johnsons will have an obligation of $3,393 for the year. That's their tax obligation for the amount of money that they made. The Johnsons did not update their W-4 form. They'll pay $688 in taxes and overpay of $28.95. That's going to be their return for the year. Okay. Now, from this point here, there's a slide here where you can actually move this back and forth and actually see how much of a change that they're going to have to make with their W-4. In order, if they want to stay where they are at, they can stay here. But now this is the point where that person that may owe at the end of the year, they can make adjustments to their W-4 form just by using the slide thing. And if they do this on a quarterly basis, they'll know where they stand at all times using the estimate. Okay, so let's continue here. Okay, and I'm going to have to use this here on the side. As my the results will show that the results will show if you will owe or receive a refund based on the information at the Johnson. They will have they'll have that information there. Okay, next slide. The Johnsons learn about the advantages of investing and owning a home-based business. They decide to invest $2,895 into their 401k. They're going to take that refund and invest that into a 401k because you've talked to them about the advantages of owning a home-based business. The Johnsons click on the income and withholding link, and Mr. Johnson will change his answers and contribute to $2,895 to his 401k. So you go back to the income and withholding link, and I'm going to pull this out so you can see the top of the screen. You can go to the income and withholding link and readjust where he says he's going to do a 401k. You change that answer to yes. Okay, and how much is Mr. Johnson going to do in it? $2,895. Okay, so now it's going to change everything because now that's going on. Okay, so going back to the list here, the next slide. Okay, it says the Johnsons learn about the advantage of home-based business and decide to get started. They go to the adjustment link. The Johnsons clicked on the adjustment to the income link. The Johnsons estimate they will have $5,000 in Schedule C business losses. Later on, you'll see what the Schedule C is and how you can get your business loss. So let's go to the adjustment side of the tax withholding. Go to adjustment, and let's see what the adjustments are. Okay, you got the student loan interest deductions, education deduction, health in there. But then down here at the bottom, it says certain business credits for reservists. This is where you want to put the $5,000 in. Okay, so you click next there. Okay, at this point, you can go back to the results of your estimator, and you will notice, and let's just say in this example, if you follow this example step by step, your numbers will coincide. The Johnsons click on the result tab after making the changes to their 401k contribution and adjustments to income to see what changes, if any, occurred. By contributing to their 401k and starting a home-based business, the Johnsons now have a tax obligation of $3,045. You see that? That's their tax obligation. Okay, the Johnsons picked up an extra $948 by making these two changes. Okay, and then finally, here it is, the difference. They've got $2,895 in a 401k, and their employer is going to match their contribution. Okay, they lowered their taxes by $948. That's a total income shift of $6,738. Excuse me. That they did not have if they did not start their business. So, in short, the tax withholding estimator, realize that this is your place that if you're getting a refund, you can break that refund up all year long and then contribute to your 401k or any other vehicle that will bring you extra money in. If you owe or think that you're going to owe, this is the place that you can start making your adjustments so that they can take out more in your paycheck so that you don't owe at the end of the year. And that's pretty much all that there is to the estimator. It's one of the most important forms that you're going to use. You know, when you start working, your W-4 form is.